Instagram or YouTube channel. Do write in the comment section if you have any questions for Angela, and I'll try to pass them on during this interview. So Angela, let's dig right in. Could you start with telling us about your journey to becoming a concert organist? What led you to pursue this career?
Well, I didn't make this decision. Yeah, it rather came to me. So I wanted to play the organ already at the age of 7, because it fascinated me in the church. And then I was told that I would have to start with the piano first. I was so proud of my recorder because I was playing recorder, and then the organ teacher said, "Oh, when you would like to play the organ, you have to learn the piano first." And then I said to my parents, "Hey, I want to learn the piano because I want to start playing the organ." So, well, I started then with the piano first, and at the age of 10, I started playing the organ. And so, yeah, I was like more into piano when I was a teenager. I was practicing far more piano than organ because I really loved all the pieces and Chopin and so on. And but organ became more and more important. There was also, or is still, a second love. It's the oboe, yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, so I did all the studies. I studied church music, organ in Munich, and also the oboe. And well, I also did auditions for orchestras with the oboe until 10, 11 years ago. And it was not so clear which way would I go. Would it be the organ or would it be the oboe?
The
And
double major.
yeah, and so but the love for organ music and the instruments became stronger and stronger. And so I took the organ path with many competitions, and it was still not like, oh, I will be a concert organist. It was not like that. It was just the music and the love for music was leading me. And yeah, well, it was rather a process. It was not a decision, it was a process, and this path has emerged somehow. Yeah, and here I am.
Thanks for sharing. So obviously playing the organ demands a very high degree of physical coordination. Could you share with us some insights into some technical challenges, especially when performing on different organs? How do you adapt to the very unique characteristics of each instrument?
So, well, I would say playing the organ, playing all kinds of organs, demands a very high degree of flexibility because, like, every instrument is unique, every organ is unique, like the human beings, yeah? So no two organs are the same. And that means first you have different kinds of organs, different types of organs. Talking of Baroque organs, French Baroque organs are different from Italian Baroque organs. Then you have the Romantic symphonic instruments in France, but in Germany, and these are also really different. You have these all-rounder organs, you have organs for contemporary music. So you have these different types of organs. And that means the sound on every organ is completely different. So talking of the technical aspects, you have to do all the sound design on each and every organ from zero. You come to an organ, and what I do, I first listen to each single stop. I take one stop, I play, okay, and then I get an idea. What are the flutes like? What are the principals like? What are the reeds like? And then I start creating my sounds. Yeah, and this is a process that takes many hours. It's often like 10, 11, 12 hours for a single concert of the duration of 1 hour. So it's about trying, it's about listening, it's about trying other things, trying variations of the sound. So that's one thing. And the other thing is everything is different, like the touch of the organ is different, the key traction is different, and also the sensation of hearing yourself at the concert. This is also very important because you're close to the pipes. Sometimes you're also inside the organ. That means pipes are behind you. If you have a Rückpositiv and you have a Brustwerk, and sometimes something, or very often something is louder at the console than downstairs in the church or in the hall. And you have to know that before. So like when the pedal is a bit weak downstairs, then you have to make it louder upstairs, yeah? And to
How
you,
do you know that before?
good question. I always ask the organist who is there in this church. I always ask this question. Please tell me something about the balance of the organ. What's it like? And then you get the information. And often, very often, it does work. Normally, it's better to have someone downstairs and to listen. But actually, yeah, with the years you get more and more experience. And so, yeah, then also the distances are different, yeah, between manuals and pedals. And also the pedals are different. So you have to get used to it in a very short time, because in the end you have to play the concert. And I sometimes say organ playing is like cooking. Now, you have different ingredients and you have different spices. And then you have a dish, but you only have these ingredients and these spices. And I also sometimes say when you have Indian spices, it's a bit difficult to cook an Italian dish. So you have to work with your ingredients, and this is the instrument, the given instrument, and the stops you have. And it's about working with the organ. So I always try to find out what can the organ do and what does the organ want. Of course, I can say, oh, I like to do it like that and like that. But maybe that doesn't work, or there are better solutions. But I never know before. I have to try it at the organ, at the venue, in the room. And yeah, and then I decide. And it's always kind of a collaboration with the organ, with the instrument. And yeah, we do the concert, the organ and me. You can never do it against the organ. It's always together. It's kind of collaboration that we have, because every organ has its soul and its heart. It's like a personality, of course. Yeah, they're unique.
So I guess it's really about being open to all sorts of possibilities too.
Yes, that's it. Of course, you have for some organ works, the registration is written, or you have an idea for registration. For example, for a piece by Johann Sebastian Bach that has to play it in plenum, yeah, you know what the plenum sound is like, and you know the stops you need for that. But it's not like it has to be this and that stop. It's also a bit flexible, and I think French organ music is still, now in our times, French organ music has very exact registrations, and normally you can use them like that, but you also have to adapt them too. And when the question is about playing Baroque organ music, like variations, yeah, on a choral, you never know which stops are sounding good together, and what can you do with the sound colors. And I really try a lot and a lot. And that also means if you don't have a sequencer, so where you can save your combinations and registrations, then you have to write everything.
Lots
But
of
you have,
post-its.
yeah, on post-its, but you have to write the changes. So because when you have one assistant or even two assistants, it's no use to write what's on, but you have to write the changes in a piece with variations, for example. And it's really tricky, because if you do one mistake, then it's everywhere. And of course, you have to have good assistants. Yeah, that's another point.
Could you maybe share with us a key moment in your career in a concert, or like during your education? I'm sure you have many stories to tell.
Oh yeah, there are lots of stories to tell. I could tell stories about things that don't work. Yeah, when you're working with organs, because this is always the case. Something does not work. But talking about the wonderful moments, one of the best moments I had, and I think it has to do with COVID, yeah, and the pandemic. That was in February 2020. At the end of February 2020, so we all know 2 weeks later there was lockdown and no chance for culture anymore. And in February, I did this wonderful tour with the Gürzenich Orchestra. So we played it in Cologne, in Kölner Philharmonie, and we played in Lyon, in London South Bank Centre, and in the Elbphilharmonie. And I know this was the very last concert of the tour, yeah, and it was like a dream. So I played the organ part of Photoptosis, Bernd Alois Zimmermann, so it's a bit tricky. And I always had to do my preparations during the setup, and it was really all the technicians. Oh, yeah. She has to do her registration, and it's loud. And well, and this concert, it was like a dream. And afterwards, we had a party, yeah, with the orchestra, and I still can remember afterwards. I just couldn't sleep because it was like, was that real or was it a dream? And afterwards came COVID, the pandemic, and all the lockdowns. So this event became even more special, yeah, than it was. And afterwards, when I met musicians from the Gürzenich Orchestra, everyone talked about this tour because tours haven't been possible for more than 2 years or even 3 years. And it was something very, very special for everyone.
So it was like the big concert before the whole pandemic.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. And yeah, and it was even more special throughout the pandemic. And we all thought, oh, we were so lucky because think of a lockdown 3 weeks earlier. No Elbphilharmonie and no concert. So it was like, I think on 24th February, something like that. Very close to the lockdowns, indeed. Yeah.
You mentioned setting up for concerts. I was wondering if you have any special rituals right before or in preparation for concerts in general.
So yes, I need two things. The first thing is a banana. Bananas are really important for concerts. The second thing is coffee. I always have to drink coffee before concerts, but not only coffee.
Right
Espresso.
before the concert.
Yes, like an hour before or half an hour before, I have to drink an
Okay.
espresso or a double one. And if I don't get that, I'm a bit, oh, I didn't get coffee. And that happened in October. That happened. It was really weird. I was playing at Toulouse-les-Orques in Saint-Sernin, the cathedral, and it was the Nuit de l'Orgue. Yeah, it was in the evening, and there are so many bars around Saint-Sernin, but there was no coffee because they
no.
all had switched off their coffee machines at 7:30. And I thought, well, we're in France. Why don't they drink coffee in the evening? And it was like, I didn't get my coffee. But okay. So I found a chocolate bar. Yeah, I found a chocolate bar in my bag, and then everything was fine. But I didn't get my coffee then. Yeah. Well, but it can happen, yeah. And well, that's it because and I can do anything before concerts. I can talk to people or I can have some quiet moments in my dressing room. I really don't mind. So it's yeah. I'm always looking forward to performing and to playing as long as I have a banana and a coffee. Yeah.
They are your trick.
Yeah.
Banana and coffee.
Yeah, that's it.
Before we move on to the next section of the interview, I'd like to remind our audience of the comment function. Feel free to ask questions and let us know what you think. So Angela, one of the main reasons for this interview is that we like to know more about your upcoming concert in Helsinki.
Yeah.
You'll be joining the Helsinki Philharmonic Orchestra as a soloist at the Musiikkitalo, featuring the premiere of Tomi Räisänen's organ concerto Pulmo. Let's start with the organ. Olivier Lettre, he opened the inaugural concert just a few weeks back to a full house. The organ, as we know it, has one of the most unusual appearances and is now the largest one in Scandinavia. Can you explain to us what makes it such a special instrument?
Well, yes, it's really a very huge instrument, about 124 stops, I think. And when you look at it, I don't know if we have a photo right now for our audience or not. You have these pipes in the facade, yeah, they are like that. They are winding up, and these are really pipes. They are sounding as speaking pipes, and some of them are for the wind channel. So I read that they were printed with a 3D printer, so very special. And yeah, of course, it's a very huge organ. You have 4 manuals, and you have also floating divisions. That means you can play these stops where you like. This organ is meant for repertoire like symphonic repertoire, but you can also play Baroque repertoire on it. You have 2 consoles, the mechanical console, the movable console. I will use the movable one, of course, because I will be near the orchestra.
Stage.
Yeah, really at the stage. And so you have some special features like the microtonal stops. There are 4 microtonal stops, or even 5, because 4 of them are for quarter tones, and 1 is for the 31 Edo division of an octave. You can use wind throttles. That means that you can reduce the wind on to work. So this is important for contemporary music. In Tomi Räisänen's organ concerto, maybe not. We will see. I have an idea in the cadenza where I could use it, but I will have to listen to the effect, and I will have to try it out. So I'm not sure about that. And yeah, so I'm really keen on playing this instrument, and it will take me, of course, a lot of time for the preparations. Yeah, but I'm lucky I will have a lot of time, because when I was asked last year to perform as a soloist with Helsinki Philharmonic, they didn't know which work we would premiere, because the work is a work of the Kaija Saariaho organ composition competition, and I was asked in January, and the prize winners were announced in April. So, but I had to sign the contract with all my rehearsal times. And I said, okay, I don't know which work I will premiere and what it will be like, and how much time it would take me to prepare everything. I need more practice time, and I need more practice time. And so that means I will go there on Sunday and have practice times around 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. in the evening until night. They told me that I could even stay there until 8 in the morning.
Okay.
During the whole, I hope that I won't need it, but we will see. But so I'm really lucky that I have so much practice time now, because it will take me a lot of time to get to know the instrument and to make decisions about my registrations. And in the end, I need the first rehearsal with the orchestra to decide if it's okay, the balance orchestra and organ or not, because of course I will prepare something before, but I don't know if it works. So on Wednesday there will be the first rehearsal with orchestra, and then we will see. And but seems quite spectacular there. So many people have been there for the inauguration, and they are so happy, because people told me that there hasn't been an instrument like that before in Finland, and now they have one. That's really cool. Congratulations.
Speaking of the piece, how do you find learning it and being the first person to play it in public? What can we expect at the concert?
Oh, this is always exciting to premiere a work. Um, so I've already talked to the composer, to Tomi, and to the conductor, Christian Schumann. And it's quite funny because Pulmo is an organ concerto about human organs. Yeah. So it's 5 movements, but they have to be played attacca, so without any break between the movements. And it's the heart, the brain, the lungs, the ear, and the kidneys. And it really starts with a heartbeat. Yeah, it's organ solo starting with a heartbeat, quite fast, 120. It's like brum 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 brum. So let's see what is faster, my heart, the beginning of the organ concerto. And yeah, it was okay for me learning this organ concerto, because you never know what you get when you say, okay, I will premiere your work and let's see what it will be like. You never know what's it like, and how much you have to practice and what exactly. And it's really piano like, I'd say. So for the technique, they're very, very, very fast things in the second and last movement. But we have normal music, I'd say. So there's no graphic notation. We have bars, we have measures, we have everything like that. And yeah, and it's really a large instrumentation. So it will be full of energy and very, very huge. There's triple woodwind, of course, brass, yeah, full brass percussion, and the strings will be like 16 first violins or 14 maybe. So that means we will have at least 6 double basses or 8 double basses. So it will be really forceful and really cool. And this work is full of energy. And now what I like is that the cadenza. So there's this one point about the organ cadenza. Tomi intended to write an organ cadenza for this work after receiving the award, yeah, the grand prize of the competition. And at first he thought about this cadenza, yeah, this virtuoso pieces and where you can show everything, yeah. But then in June 2023, Kaya Saariaho died. It's very sad because it was her who donated a large sum for this organ, because she wanted to have an organ in the Musiikkitalo. Everybody wanted to have it, but it was too expensive 10 years ago. And so she donated a large sum. And she decided to initiate this Kaya Saariaho organ composition competition. And she was in the jury last year. And now she died in June. And so Tomi decided in summer to write a sort of, I say it's an anti-cadenza, because it's not this cadenza sort of thing. It's a lamento for Kaya Saariaho. And it's about 5 minutes, and it's very chromatic and very painful. And I really like it as a homage, a Kaya Saariaho who can't listen to this organ anymore and to the pieces. But well, maybe she will listen to the music and to her organ, yeah, from elsewhere. Yeah, I hope so.
That's really nice, like to learn more about the piece and to know about the special cadenza. Now, shall we move on to some questions we have received from our audience?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
We have one from Italy and one from the States.
Okay.
So first question, how do you select repertoire for your concerts? Are there specific genre or composers that you find particularly inspiring?
So how do I choose repertoire for my concerts? I always start with a specification of the organ. So that means the stop list, where I have all the stops of the organ and where I can see how many stops on how many manuals. And I also see what kind of organ is it? Is it an historical Baroque organ? Like which pitch does it have and which temperament? And then often it starts with an idea for this organ. Yeah, I really sit there just reading this stop list, and then I have an idea for an organ work, and then there are even more ideas. And well, then I try to find like a theme for my organ recitals, or trying to have counterparts for different pieces. And well, this is why I never play a program twice, because sometimes I also have two organs in one place and they are different. And yeah, and then I have Baroque organs, I have Romantic organs, I have symphonic organs and French organs, and so on and so on. And I really, as I told before, I try to play the organ in its best, yeah, because every organ can do some parts of the repertoire better. And well, some you can, for example, you can play Max Reger on a French Baroque organ. That just won't work. And the question is, when I have the specification, what will or could sound well on this organ? What could sound well? And how can I do a program um, that tells a story? Yeah, that is kind of a journey for my listeners. And how can I take them with me with that instrument? And well, composers who inspire me. Well, I think I always like best the works that I'm practicing. Yeah, it's not like, oh, I love Bach. No, it's only Bach. No, it's always I'm working and I'm practicing for my recitals, and I'm looking forward to each recital, and I love playing and practicing pieces that I haven't played before. So that means I'm practicing all the time, because when I do my program concepts, it's like, oh, a piece is missing. I need something that fits in there, yeah. And then I'm searching on my repertoire. Oh, I haven't played that. No matter, I will learn this piece. And so for me, the best thing is really diving into this different styles of organ music, and with music of different composers through all the times and with all these beautiful instruments. So I don't have a preferred composer. I really can't say that, no.
So that means you really play a very diverse range of music.
Oh yes. It's like from Sweeling to premieres and everything in between. So I think it's an advantage, yeah, of playing the organ, that you don't have your own instrument. I mean, for other instrumentalists, it would be quite a horror, yeah, to have another instrument one day before the concert. I think it's wonderful because it's like experiencing, it's like searching, and you have this rich colors and this diversity in our organ landscape all over the world. And yes, I play the repertoire that fits to the given organ. That really means all kinds of Baroque music, Riga, of course, French symphonic music, and also premieres, of course, like now.
That's amazing. Second question. How has technology influenced your work as a concert organist?
Well, technology is, of course, a topic for modern organ building, yeah, like the Sinua systems that you have in the Organ Park Amsterdam, where you still have real pipes and real wind, of course, but the console can do some cool features. It's also the case in Helsinki at the Musiikkitalo, where you have some features that are only possible with a movable console, because everything's digital, so it's like a computer. And well, yeah, technique, yeah. So I still use sheet music. I don't use iPads, because somehow I don't like
Yeah, me
staring
too.
at screens, yeah. And I love papers. I always loved books already as a child, and it was the best to have this book in my hand and to feel the pages. And it's still the same with my music. And yeah, I need the pages, and I need this real thing and so on. Yeah, and of course, without the technique, we wouldn't be here. Yeah. So it's because of the IOOF and because of Zoom and the internet that we can talk now and do this interview, and also Instagram, of course. Maybe we have viewers on Instagram now. This is also a point. So you can meet other people on Instagram. There are really some people I met on Instagram first and then in reality. So it happens. Instagram and reality, yeah, still exists, the reality.
Really cool. So to wrap up our interview, could you tell us how you see the role of organ music in today's society? How do you see the future of organ music?
Well, so the future of organ music, it is wonderful what happens in organ building and what happened the last few years with instruments like in Kassel, now in the Musiikkitalo, in the Orgelpark Amsterdam. But I'm not sure how relevant organ music is for the society. I mean, organ music is really fascinating. The instruments are fascinating, but it still seems that not so many people really know how it works and what this universe is. Yeah, it's a universe, yeah, the organ world. And I think what you do is a wonderful contribution to that. So making it more, no, I wouldn't say popular, but just bringing organ music to the people is very important, because I still have the impression that organ music is still a bit in a niche. Yeah. And sometimes people say to me, even artistic directors of orchestras, oh, organ, organs. Well, I think the organ is something special. And I say, yes, it's special. And this is great because it's amazing, it's cool, and this is what we need, these special instruments. And so I'm a bit sad that the organ is not so, it's always a bit in the background. Huh? Some weeks ago, someone told me, oh, I'm so sorry, we can't do an organ concerto with you and orchestra because the conductor is not so a fan of the organ. And I thought, ooh, wow, okay. I think there is still a lot of work to do. But yeah, we have to bring organ music back to the concert halls, because what happens in Helsinki is wonderful. But in other concert halls, the organ series are reduced. Yeah, you only have like 3 organ recitals, and before you had 4. And sometimes the organ is only there for works with orchestra when you have this great chords. Yeah, but I think the organ has to be played also in concert halls, and not only in live cinema organ events. It's also cool, but we really have to get it back in the concert halls, not only physically, but they have to sound. And this is a bit what happened in the last years in Europe. The organs are there in the concert halls, but they are not played so often, and this is a pity. Well, in the churches, we all know what the situation is like, and there are big changes going on. So let's see what will happen to churches that are not churches anymore, but where we have these instruments. So we will see, yeah, and we will have to work a lot, I think.
Yeah, so there's still a lot we can do for this instrument that we all love.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Right, so Angela, thank you so much again for this wonderful interview. And
Thank
to the
you.
online audience, thank you for watching and for raising some very interesting questions. I hope you join me again for Angela's live stream next Friday. Date is February the 2nd, 7 p.m. Helsinki time, with the Helsinki Philharmonic Orchestra, conducted by Christian Schumann. You'll find the link on our next 5 Best Online Organ Events column, and also on Angela's social media platforms closer to the concert day. Thank you again, Angela. On behalf of the IOOF, I'd like to wish you every success at the concert.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you. This brings our stream to an end. Thank you again, everyone, and goodbye.